Hello, everyone. Thanks for logging on to CBSDenver.com. Romy Bean alongside Michael Spencer here at the Pepsi Center after the Nuggets lost a surprising Game 7. Really thought they were going to pull it off, especially the way they did against the Spurs. They fall by 4 points to the Portland Trail Blazers. What do you see?
Well, it was an ugly Game 7 for sure. It kind of mimicked the San Antonio game in the way that the Nuggets just didn't shoot the ball very well. They were 2 for 20 from the three-point line in that game against San Antonio. They were 2 for 19 from the three-point line here tonight. That's 10.5% for all of you mathematicians watching this at home. Romy, that's not good. They end up shooting 37% from the field, but they just didn't shoot the ball well, and that was obviously the big difference tonight.
Well, and they came out to do a blazing start. They were up by 17 points at one point, and then they just kind of slowly started to fizzle. It was as if they got themselves almost too hyped up and then couldn't maintain that. And Portland just kind of creepily crawled its way back. Neither team was shooting well, but the Nuggets just couldn't. After they had that, I felt like they had a big burst at the beginning, and then they couldn't get back to that energy level.
And that was the thing. The Nuggets led by 17 at one point in the first half. The Blazers were playing terribly.
Right.
I mean, they were awful. They were 0 for 10 to start the game from the three-point line. Damian Lillard had just 13 points.
He didn't score
until
Sunday.
What? He didn't score until the second quarter.
Right.
Yeah, 6-minute mark of the second quarter was when he scored.
Crazy.
And then he didn't score again in the third quarter.
Right.
So he ends up with 13. The one thing he did do a nice job of, he had 8 assists. He was effective in the pick and roll, getting it to his big guys. But if you were to tell me at the beginning of the day that the Blazers and Damian Lillard would have just 13 points, that the Nuggets were able to hold them to 13, I would have told you they would have won in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. But it was kind of I thought it was going to be a battle of which superstar comes out, Jokic or Lillard. It ended up being McCollum as a superstar, and then on the other side, Jamal Murray just was ice cold, couldn't get the shots in. I mean, he had 11 points after 3 quarters, finished with 17, but you can't get it done with just Jokic putting up points. And Millsap also went ice cold. The ball just wasn't going their way, it almost felt like.
Yeah, no, that was tough. Jamal Murray just 4 of 18 from the field. He mentioned 17 points, the majority of those, 9 of them coming from the free throw line. So I think the future is bright for this team. I think they can learn from this. Michael Malone made that point in his post-game news conference. He said, look, this is similar to 82 last year. Game 82, a year ago, they lost at Minnesota, ended up not making the playoffs. This year, they get an extra 14 games, go to 7 games with San Antonio, go to 7 games with the Blazers. They used last year's Game 82 in Minnesota as motivation all season long. They'll use this game here at the Pepsi Center as motivation heading into the 2019-2020 season.
And in a lot of ways, they exceeded expectations.
Yes.
The goal was to get to the postseason because they had missed by 1 game the past 2 seasons. They not only got to the postseason, but they took 2 teams to 7 games. Mm-hmm. They got to the Western Conference semifinals. So in a lot of ways, they exceeded expectations. That doesn't take away from the disappointment of tonight's game, but you also have to look at it, at the end of it all, there's only one team that doesn't go home disappointed. Yeah. And everybody else's season ends in disappointment, and there's a lot for the Nuggets to grow on and learn on. And, oh boy, that locker room it was painful. It stings, but they're going to learn, they're going to grow, and they're young.
The future of this franchise is really bright. Your 2 best players are 2 of your youngest players in Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Oh, by the way, you got Michael Porter Jr. coming off the bench. You don't know what he will bring coming off that back injury, but if he can give you even just a little bit, the future of this franchise is going to be really good, and this won't be the last time the Nuggets make it this far.
Absolutely not. But for now, that puts a wrap on the Nuggets season, both the Nuggets and the Avalanche, losing in Game 7 of the second round. That is a tough week for Denver sports, but now we turn our attention towards Broncos and Rockies, of course. Rockies going on a road trip, but that is a wrap for the Denver Nuggets 2018-2019 season. Romy Bean, Michael Spencer signing off from Pepsi Center.